Hi folks, and thanks very much for deciding to give this video a watch. This is going to be the tutorial for my cover version of Enola Gay, and concentrating on the backing tracks that were created on the JD-Xi. So let me just run through the 4 sequences with you. So this is sequence number 1, which plays through a couple of times, goes into sequence number 2, into sequence number 3 where the lead comes in, and then there is another sequence which is like a break between the at the end of the song, which then goes back into the main sequence again. There, complete with a couple of bum notes. But there you go, you get a general idea of how it goes. So what I thought I'd do, I'd break this video tutorial down into 2. So this first one will concentrate on the introduction, which is the little drum introduction, then the bit that sort of goes between the drum introduction and the main verse. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. I thought I'd do something slightly different for you, show you literally from scratch. So I'm going to switch the JD-Xi off, and we're going to program this in from scratch, as if we just got the JD-Xi and we've turned it on, and you're going to go in maybe for the first time and have a play around programming a song into it. Now I've got mine set up so it comes up automatically on memory location E01. So at the start of the JD-Xi starts at, if I just go back to the beginning, you've got all the way from A01, which has got all these weird and wonderful stuff in there. The first one that you can actually program into is E01, and I've got something in there at the moment, but I'm just going to delete that out completely. And we're going to go in from scratch and start programming these patterns in there for you. So to delete what's in a memory slot, press the Shift key down, press the Erase key, and then use the Program Pattern Value buttons here to work through so that in the display it says All. Press Enter, and then it says Erase Pattern, press Enter again. And now we've got a nice blank pattern in there. So this is what we're going to do. First of all, let's do the tempo. So the tempo for this particular song is 72 beats per minute. So use the tempo knob, rotate that round until you've got it reading 72 in the display there. The sequence of notes needs changing to 1/32, so I'll show you how to do that. Press the menu button, use the cursor controls to work through until it says scale setting in the display. Press enter. The default is 1/16, so we're going to change that to 1/32. The other setting is, if you're interested, is 1/12. So change that to 1/32 with these value buttons here, and press enter again, and then press exit to get out of that menu. To show you've got 32 notes, because if you notice the JD-Xi has only got 16 notes showing, to get to the second 16 notes, press the Shift button down. You see that where that number 1's flashing? If you make number 2 flash, then you're in the second bank of 16 notes, just for reference. So let's go back to the first bank and we'll start putting these drums in. So the drum kit that I'm using, I use for the cover version, is the 808 and 909 kit 1. And to get that, use these buttons here where it says tone plus or minus, and we're going to work through until we get to kit number 18. There we are, and that's the 808 and 909 kit 1. So the first button, the first drum that we're going to program in is the one that's marked as Perc 3. So this one here. Turn the volume up a little bit so you can hear it. Okay, so that Perc 3 is going to go on positions 1 and 3, 9 and 11 in the first 16, and in the second 16 exactly the same, 1, 3, 9 and 11. Have a quick listen. Okay, and then go back to the first lot. So you just hold the shift button down and press the appropriate button to get into which set of 16 notes you want to be working on, and when it's flashing, I'm in the first 16 notes there. So we're going to put in snare drum 1. So this snare drum 1 is going to go on positions 5 and 13 in the first 16, and 5 and 13 in the second. And we're also going to put in snare drum 4. So go back to the first one, the first 16, snare drum 4, snare that, and that's going to go on position 7 and 15 in the first 16, and 7 and 15 in the second. Have a quick listen. Now that snare drum 4, the level of it just needs taking down a little bit. It just needs to be a little bit lower than the first snare drum. So to do that, press snare drum 4 and then use this control here, which is the amp envelope level control. So we're just going to take that second drum down just that little bit there. And the last thing that we're going to program into here is that nice little sort of percussion, high percussion sound, which goes in at the end. And we're going to use for that this drum here, which is Perc 5. That one there, like a high electronic tom sound, and that's going to go in. So make sure measure 2 is flashing there, and that's going to go in on the last 8 notes. So starting at 9, we're going to program in the last 8 notes with that sound, and it's going to sound like this. So that completes the first pattern. To save that, just press the shift and right buttons down. Use the combination of the cursor and the value controls to give it a name if you wish to. Press the enter button, and this would be stored on E01 if I hit enter again. I'm not going to store it, but if I press enter again now, that would store it on E01. So just get out of that to start with. So the next thing we're going to do with this, we're going to use this same drum sequence to program in pattern number 2, which is this bridge between the little drum introduction and the main verse. So it's going to use the same drum sound, but it's going to have a couple of extra instruments on top of it. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to put this analog sound in, this little analog sequencer pattern that's going to go in on here. And the voice that I'm using for that is called Celoclip 1. And if you press the analog button here, work through the tones, and we're looking for tone number 32, and it's called Celoclip 1. Now, when you select it from there, it sounds like this. So we definitely don't want that sound. What we're going to do, we're going to use the controls of the JD-Xi to get the sound more like the one that we want. So first of all, we need to shift the octave. So at the moment it's shifted down, we're going to shift it up. So in the display it wants to be saying octave plus 3 in there. So it's getting there. we want to turn some of these effects off. We've got too many effects going over here, so I'm going to use this effects on off button so that just the reverb is lit up. So you see as I press it, it turns those lights off. So when the reverb is lit up, that's the only one that we want. So it's already coming down. The next thing we're going to do is change this sub oscillator over here. So this sub oscillator that's flashing, it means we've got three, can you see? Three oscillators working. We just want 2 oscillators working. So pressing it once, that's 1 oscillator. Pressing it a second time, so it's like a steady red light, that's 2 oscillators. So it's getting there. That's the sort of sound we're looking for. The final thing to do is just play about with this cutoff control. Just turn it anti-clockwise very slightly. That's the sound we're looking for. That sort of ringing sound there. So it's going to sound something like this. That's the sort of sound we're looking for. That's it. Now to program that in, we're going to use the step recorder. So turn the step recorder on, and we're going to program this in note for note. So it starts on this F note here. So I'll press the F note, and what I'll do, I won't talk. So I've tried this before, and as I'm talking, I make mistakes. So I'm going to be pressing F, D, F, E, and then F, D, F, E again, and then I'm finishing off by going G down to E. So watch my fingers as I'm doing it, and I'm going to use a keyhole to move it on, so it's every third position it's going to go to. So that last note, when you put that last note in, just press the step recorder once more, and it will then make that last 16 be flashing. So press step recorder to get out of it. Have a listen. So we're getting there, aren't we? So the final thing we need to do now, or sorry, there's 2 more things we need to do. We're going to put a bass sound in, and we're going to just put some extra drums on the end of it. So we'll do the extra drums to start with, but first of all we need to turn this from a 1 measure sequence into a 4 measure sequence. So to do that, press the menu button. So where it says scale setting now, if you press the cursor left button once, it will go into pattern length, and we need to change the pattern length from 1 to 4. So press enter. So it's currently saying measure 1, we want to make it say measure 4. So use the value buttons to make it say measure 4, press enter. With copying, yes, so press enter again. And that's copied all that work that you've just done over 4 measures. So when we're talking about measures, if I hold the shift button down now, you'll see that we've got 8 lights lit up. So 1 and 2 is measure 1, 3 and 4 is measure 2, 5 and 6 is measure 3, 7 and 8 is measure 4. So the first and second 16 are on the odd and even numbers there. So what we need to do now is go into the very last measure. So hold the shift button down and go to the very last measure. I'm going to put some extra drums on here. So the first extra drum I'm going to put on is snare drum 3. Sorry, snare drum 3, where are we? It's getting dark in here, need a light on. Snare drum 3, so that's going to go on positions 1, 5, 9, 11, 13, 14, 15 and 16. And bass drum, I'm going to put a bass drum on there as well. It's bass drum 2. I just need to turn that level down a little bit. Bass drum 2, and that's going to go on positions 1, 5, 9, 11, 13 and 15. That's correct. Let's have a listen. That's it. So that little drum roll at the end there sort of leads into the next sequence, just gives it that little bit more interest rather than it just going straight into that sequence. The final thing I'm going to do now is put some bass guitar sound on there. So press Digital Synth 1, turn this control knob here to bass, and then we're going to use the tone buttons here now just to go through right the way through to the end almost, and we're looking for a bass guitar sound that's called picked bass, and it's number 159. So number 159, picked bass, and we need to shift it back down to its normal position, so the octave shift lights, neither of them want to be on. So that's, and the sound that it's going to make is something like, so that's the notes that we're playing. So we're playing F, down to D, down to B flat, back to C, and just play it along with the pattern. So that's what we want to record into there. And I say record into there because I'd suggest you try and do this with a real-time recorder, because you want that first note to drag out and then you've got those short notes after it. So it's one long note followed by the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no, 5, 6 short notes like that. Anyway, let me do it. It might make more sense if I do it for you. So press record, let it run through once. Watch the counter, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's me talking at the same time. Let's just delete that a minute. Try it again. So it's, right, here we go. That's pretty good. I think there was one slight mistake in there, but you get the general idea of what we're looking to achieve. And then we'd then go in and save that. But if you save that to the next free memory slot, so you press Shift and right, press Enter, and then change the value there to the next memory slot. So for example, I've got the first one on E01. I would then select E02 to save the next one. So I'm not going to save it because it will go over one of my samples for Blue Monday, and I don't want to delete that one. So I'll just exit. But if you pressed Enter now, that would then save it at that position, ready for the next time. So the next time we'll learn the main sort of chorus and verse, the little bridge thing that goes in towards the end, and I'll also show you the notes to play for the lead on top of it. So that's not too bad, just coming in at just under 20 minutes, so I'm glad, I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, if you like the stuff that I'm doing, please hit the subscribe button, it would be greatly appreciated. And we'll see you next time. All the best and take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.